The avoidant does not send signals in the conventional sense. They do not leave deliberate clues or construct the missing into a readable code designed to communicate what the direct statement cannot. The signals are not intended. They are the leakage of something that the suppression was designed to contain, the specific, involuntary expressions of a feeling that is pressing against the walls, built to hold it with a force that those walls cannot, at every moment and in every interaction, perfectly manage. What the signals reveal is not a calculated communication. It is a failure of concealment. And that distinction matters enormously because it means the signals carry the specific authenticity of the unintended. They are not what the avoidant decided to show. They are what the avoidant could not entirely prevent from showing. And the things a person cannot prevent from showing are always more truthful than the things they choose to display. Learning to read these signals requires something more nuanced than a list of behaviors to watch for. It requires the development of a sensitivity to quality, to the specific texture of an interaction rather than its content, to the feeling of something rather than the fact of something. Because the signals are not in what the avoidant does, they are in how the avoidant does it. And the how is always, for those paying close enough attention, the more honest half of any communication. The first signal, the quality of the reach, that has no clear purpose. The avoidant who is not missing you does not reach without purpose. Their relational economy, as examined throughout these pieces, is efficiently managed. Contact has a function. Interaction serves a clear aim. The message is sent because there is something to convey. The call is made because there is something to resolve. The check-in happens because there is a socially established expectation of it that would be conspicuous in its absence. When the missing is present, something different begins to happen in the reaching. Contact arrives that does not have a clear functional purpose. A message that references something small and incidental. A thing seen or heard or encountered that carries your association, shared not because the sharing serves any practical function, but because the impulse to share it with you specifically arrived before the avoidant could intercept it and decide whether the sharing was appropriate. The forwarded article that is genuinely relevant to something you discussed, but that also required the avoidant to have been thinking about that conversation, which required them to have been thinking about you. The check-in that asks how you are with a specific quality that the routine check-in does not carry. A quality that communicates, through its very specificity, that the answer genuinely matters, rather than functioning as social maintenance. The signal is not in the contact itself. It is in the purposelessness of it. The avoidant, who is efficiently managing their relational investments, does not generate purposeless contact. Contact without clear function is the reaching of someone whose interior is pulling toward you despite the management's best efforts to direct that pull toward nothing actionable. The impulse leaked through, the message was sent, and in the sending, the missing made itself briefly, deniably, entirely, genuinely visible. The second signal, dash, the disproportionate attentiveness to your peripheral presence. The avoidant who is missing you tracks you, not obsessively, not in any way they would acknowledge or perhaps even consciously register, but in the specific, involuntary way that the avoidant's perceptual system, which has always been finely calibrated to the emotional weather of the people who matter to them, maintains an awareness of your existence that is disproportionate to the degree of active connection currently present between you. They know things about your life that the current level of direct contact should not have provided them, not through surveillance or active seeking, through the peripheral awareness of someone who is attending without deciding to attend to the signals that your existence sends into the shared spaces of the world. The mutual friend's offhand mention of something you are doing that the avoidant received with more attention than the casual delivery warranted. The awareness of a change in your circumstances that they could only have if they were paying a specific kind of attention to the periphery of your world. The signal is in the disproportionality. The investment of attention is larger than the acknowledged relationship currently justifies, and the disproportionate attention is not a decision. It is not the avoidant consciously choosing to maintain awareness of you despite the distance. It is the automatic, involuntary operation of an interior that has not processed you as peripheral, regardless of what the external structure of the current relationship suggests. You are still central in their interior. The attentiveness is the evidence, not in its content. Each individual piece of awareness is deniable as coincidental, but in its pattern, in the accumulated evidence of someone who is tracking you from a distance, with the specific, quiet, entirely unglamorous dedication of someone whose missing has not translated into action, but has never, for a moment, translated into genuine indifference. The third signal, the specific warmth that arrives in the unguarded moment. The avoidance warmth in ordinary connection mode is managed, not performed. Genuine warmth is present in it, but calibrated, delivered at the level that the avoidance assessment of the current relational temperature suggests is appropriate, neither more than the level that would signal an investment they are not prepared to acknowledge, nor less than the level that would create a coldness they are not prepared to sustain. When the missing is present, the calibration occasionally fails. The warmth arrives above the managed level, not dramatically, not in the sudden, overwhelming disclosure of everything the avoidant has been suppressing, but in the specific, brief, entirely genuine quality of a moment in which the feeling behind the warmth exceeded the management's capacity to regulate it to the approved level. The moment has a texture that is different from the ordinary warmth. It is warmer than the situation warrants. It arrives with a specificity, directed at you, at something particular about you, at the specific quality of your presence or your response or your being that the avoidant has been, without acknowledgement, holding in their awareness. It has the quality of something released rather than something offered, the warmth that escaped rather than the warmth that was extended. And in the immediate aftermath of it, this is the signal within the signal, the thing that most clearly identifies the moment as genuine leakage rather than managed expression. There is often a micro-withdrawal, a slight pulling back of the warmth to the managed level, a subtle re-regulation of the temperature, the management re-engaging after the brief lapse, the avoidant noticing, consciously or semi-consciously, that something warmer than intended just passed through. The warmth itself is the signal. The withdrawal that follows it is the confirmation. The managed warmth does not need to be remanaged. Only the warmth that exceeded the management requires the correction, and the correction, in its specific telltale arrival in the aftermath of the genuine thing, is the avoidance missing briefly, undeniably, entirely involuntarily showing its face. These signals are not a green light. Reading them accurately is not the same as knowing what to do with the reading. The avoidant who is sending these signals is missing you in the specific, real, interior-only way that the avoidant misses everything that matters most, genuinely, privately, without the capacity to act on the missing in the ways that would actually serve either of you. The signals tell you that you are present in their interior, that the missing is real, that the suppression is not complete, and the feeling has not resolved into the indifference that the management is performing. This is meaningful information. It is not nothing, but it is also not a relationship. It is not the expressed, sustained, consistently demonstrated love that you deserve. It is the feeling that has not yet found, or may never find, its way through the fear to the action that would make the feeling count for something, receive the signals as what they are, the truth of the feeling, not the promise of the action, and let the difference between those two things be the clarity that your next decision is made from.